Whiskey has gotten crazy over the past couple of years, and if you're just trying to start out your whiskey career, where do you even start?
So many different options, and if you're newer to whiskey, you gotta know somewhere to start. We're gonna help you out with that.
Stay tuned. And before we get started here, be sure to check out our Discord. We got it linked down below. We got a community growing, a lot of cool guys talking about whiskeys that we do like a nightly pour thing. You know, what are you drinking? What do you find in your area? Regional chat stuff. Really good conversations going there if you want to be a part of it.
Polls.
We do ask questions about what you guys want to see too. So if you want to influence what we do and what we review, check it out.
Yeah, we just like hearing you guys talking there.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as well. Back to the video.
Okay, you walk into a liquor store. I know there's so many different options. You got that little wheel over there with Scotch and bourbon. So there's a whole different other topic right there. But on the bourbon wheel, whiskey wheel, American whiskey wheel, where people are in an American whiskey liquor shop and they're wondering what kind of liquor to get from whiskey. First one to go. Don't even care. Just right off the bat, what are you pulling?
Right off the bat, I think of that kind of high rye, spicy, a little bit more complex. Dude, this is on the shelf all the time. Old Granddad Bonded. I think it's a staple, low $20.
Yeah.
And it's gonna really give you those spicy high rye notes. And so that's gonna teach you, maybe you like a little more complex, you like a little more spice than sweet. And then you can play around with cocktails. Makes a great cocktail.
True.
So I think that's like just a standard bourbon that should be in everyone's bar.
True.
And it'll teach you, maybe you like more spice than not, or maybe you don't.
Yeah. It also, like, if you like that little dry out note at the end when you're done with whiskey, this will give that to, this will give that to you. It's like, it's not like, obviously it's only 100 proof, but get a little bit of that dry note at the end, and it's pretty pleasant when getting into whiskey. At least for me, it was.
Absolutely, yeah. So definitely a good place to start.
Yeah.
Maybe tell you if you want more of the spice side, or maybe you should lean more to the sweet side. Which, next one.
We'll get into that right now. Sweet side, Maker's Mark. Classic Maker's Mark, what, $23, $24, something
Exactly.
around there? It's the weeder whiskey. Weeder whiskey has a different profile than the bonded. With the weeded whiskey, you're going to get a lot more of those sweeter notes like honey, a sweet caramel, and a little bit of that molasses-y.
It's going to be a lot more delicate, yeah, because instead of the rye, it's replaced with wheat, which is a lot more soft, a lot more delicate, a lot easier to handle, especially if you're just getting started.
Right, and what qualifies as a weeder whiskey?
Anything that replaces the rye and the mash bill with wheat.
Okay, gotcha. So that's why when you talked about the Old Granddad Bonded, that's a high rye one, right?
So it's going to have more of a percentage of rye than standard.
Exactly. So that's also one thing to look for. Sometimes on the bottles are transparent about how much rye or barley or wheat or corn is in it. Typically, to be legally called bourbon, you have to have 51% corn in it. So that's kind of the standard here. So what you're looking for is like the rye or the wheat or the barley or percentages in there vary. But your first starter of a weeded whiskey, this is definitely something to start off with. It'll get your sweet palate going and see what you think.
And easy to find. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to get into a different kind of sweet. This, if you can find it, starting to see them a little more. This is going to be more on the candied sweets.
Bubblegum, dude.
It's bubblegum, it's candied, it's caramels, in this kind of genre. But also you start dabbling into the fruits. You start getting a little bit of a cherry, a little bit of grape we get on the Buffalo Trace stuff. So if you got a sweet tooth, maybe this guy's going to be up your alley.
Bubba hubba bubba hubba.
Absolutely.
Bubba hubba bubba. Bubba hubba hubba bubba.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And if you want to get crazy, you go into the store picks of these guys.
Yeah.
And you're getting single barrels, which is what the store picks are. You got a little stick on the side, which right there.
Over there. Great stuff.
There's some that are just like a grape bomb, like a cherry bomb.
Right.
Some are just bad, but we've only had one bad barrel. But it's like you're getting a lot of influence of one. So definitely Buffalo Trace in general, either the regular ones or the store picks, always get them. The store picks are something to just always grab if you can see them.
They do good with that candy profile.
Yeah. All right. So another one that I want to talk about is a little bit of that Wild Turkey funk.
Oh yeah.
Wild Turkey 101, you all know it. I wanted to talk about it, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper in there. Russell's 10-year, Wild Turkey, they make the same stuff here. Russell's 10, so I want to talk about it because you're getting a little bit more age on this one here. So Wild Turkey, you have that typical funk, you get a little bit of that hay note, a little dirt, a little bit of that, farmer sweat going on. You're getting that here, plus the year mileage.
God.
The Wild Turkey 101 has a little bit more proof, But this is specifically for the age, is why I talked about this. This guy's going to be sitting at 45% alcohol, so 90 proof. So it's nothing about the proof. This is specifically to see, do I like this later in age? This is your first one to get started with when it comes to age. $39.99 MSRP. You can't really beat that in terms of finding a 10-year product.
Exactly.
And it just has that certain profile where either you'll instantly be like hooked onto it, like I was when I tried it, or it'll be like, that's not really my profile, explore
Right.
other options, and that's totally fine too. But this will definitely help you either develop or find your palate more so. Great one to try.
And it's really distinct, and he mentioned the wild turkey funk. Yeah, like he said, I almost think of like a dusky, a damp basement almost. I mean, it's a rick house, and you get a little bit of like this growth that's going on in there. And with the age, you're gonna get a lot more barrel influence. So that's gonna really help you see if you like more of that, if you like less of that, if you like maybe that dank basement kind of funk.
Mossy.
Mossy is a great word. So that's a really specific characteristic. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's great to try, see if it's your thing or not.
Yeah, wild turkey's I've always been a wild turkey fanboy, huh? Like I've always been a fan of the funk, right?
You latched on.
But it's been a while since we've had like wild turkey product here.
I know.
So I wonder if my palate has developed over time. We should revisit.
We should. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Anyways, your turn.
All right. So now we're gonna go into something that is definitely not in my wheelhouse, and that's gonna be sour mashes. He likes sour mashes a lot more than I do. I tend to stay away from them. These are gonna be like kind of like what it says, a little bit more of like a sourish note. It's gonna be. I really don't know how much to describe it past that.
But there's a little bit more that goes into it than just a regular bourbon. It is different.
Should we look it up real quick?
But I only like certain sour mashes. This one's I'm not too big of a fan of. The only sour mash I like, honestly, is gonna be like the Shanks. So same distillery, definitely harder to find, bigger proof point. Okay, thanks Google AI. Sour mash is a process used in distilling to adjust the acidity of a new batch of mash with leftover material from a previous batch. The term can also refer to the mash itself or the bourbon making process used in the So basically,
Cliff notes, come on.
personally, I don't really like sour mashes either as much. Some people swear by them.
Yeah.
A good sour mash, though, as I said, is Shanks, and Elmer T. Lee's a sour mash, believe it or not. Some people don't know that.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah,
a really
it's a
good
very
sour mash.
I mean,
But it's Buffalo Trace.
it's Buffalo Trace, so you get more of the sweets candies.
Mash Bill 2.
Very interesting.
So,
Yeah.
sour mash, definitely a different profile. Maybe you'll like it. That would be cool. If it was a go-to for you.
Absolutely.
And another one, so he was talking about the spicy notes. If you're trying to learn, I just want to try a rye. What is a straight up rye that I can get into that's cheap, something to start me off with? Rittenhouse Rye, bottled in bond.
Banger rye.
It's a Heaven Hill product. It's like $23, $24.
Killer.
And
They do picks, by the way.
That's true. They do, a lot of stores do pick single barrels of these. But it is a good standard rye. Got the classic screw off cap.
Can't beat it.
And it's pretty good. You know, I'm not going to say it's really good because this was in a rye blind we did. I believe this was one of the last bottles, but for what it is, it's really good. You know, it's a bottled in bond, which I was hooked on it. When I see bottled in bond on a bottle, I'm gonna buy it if I don't know what it is, especially if it's $24 out the door. I enjoy it. It's really good for mixed drinks as well.
Oh yeah, killer.
So it's like I kind of think of your old Grandad Bonded, how you can use that for just drinking straight or mixed drinks. Same with this guy here.
Yeah.
If it's a profile like, okay, I can get into the rye. I don't know the percentage of rye in this, but
I'm not sure if they listed on the
I
bottle.
don't think they're transparent about it.
But it is gonna be a rye, considered a rye, which
course.
is 51% rye. I think that's what's legally a rye.
So it's definitely something good to start off with, and then from there you can move up.
See if it's your profile. Next, we're gonna get into the world of finishing whiskey. This is kind of a shelf-stable product by Angel's Envy. Usually their stuff is pretty pricey, but this is gonna be right around 40 something bucks. So it's up there, but you're getting a finished product. It's gonna be finished in port wine barrel. With this, you're gonna really get the experience of that wine finish, which is gonna add so many red fruit notes to it. You get the bourbon, and it's just gonna be, in this case, it's pretty subtle, but that influence of just red fruit, and it's pretty interesting what you can do with the finish. And there's all kinds of finishes.
This is a good pick for like starting off with a finished product. You also have John J. Bowman Port finish. That one's a good one too. But this one was a good pick in my opinion because it's so distinctly different from like a regular bourbon. You're really getting that finished profile. This particular one, I don't like so much. If we're going into a finished product that I like personally, we're going to talk about the Sagamore Sherry or Port finished. These are really, really good. Probably $60, $70 though.
Right, a little more pricey.
We're talking about, you know, more better for value price point for these bottles here, but this is definitely a very different profile, and it'll help you learn, okay, finished barrels is going to be definitely something different because you can finish in port, rum, wine. It kind of goes from there. And there's one other one to talk about too. This kind of falls into the category of staves.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
So I was
Just
like
different finishes.
I was thinking of like, you know, you also like when you put a stave in a whiskey, that's like this one right here, the Lost Recipe series, the Mocha stave. That's a whole other topic, basically. You know, just different profiles. And the thing with finished whiskeys is you're going all over the wheel.
Exactly.
So you know,
it influences anything and everything.
so that's why, like on this one, I talked about, you know, this one, and I brought up the Mocha stave and the Sagamore. There's just a lot with finished whiskeys. It's definitely something to explore. Something to start off with in our recommendation would be this because of how vastly different it is from like anything.
Right. And lastly, we got Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. This kind of ties into what you were saying about Maker's Mark with the stave finishing. Anything finished, anything that's an extra process, you're going to be paying a little bit more for. This is about, I think, $50, right?
Yeah.
You're going to just double oak that. All right, that's good. So double oaked, what does that mean?
It means they put it into one barrel and they put it into another barrel.
To finish it out.
And you're not diluting it.
And what that does to a whiskey is it kind of depends on the person doing it. In this case, it makes it really on the sweeter side. You get a lot of the sweet oaks that kind of get influenced here. A really great example of something that does it really well, or someone who does it really well, is going to be the 1910 Old Forester.
So I was just looking at
It's going to be right there in the price range, maybe a little higher than this, but it is fantastic. It's that sweets. It really influences the sweeter side. But you also get a little bit more char, a little bit more of that oak, because it's a brand new oak
That's what I was going to say.
barrel. It's, you know, you're getting a lot more influence. You're doubling up that influence, so it's pretty interesting.
And if, I went a little bit on the dryness of the bond. This guy will dry you out. This is like, if you're having this one for the first time, a double oak product, sit on that one for a while. Give it some time. Maybe add a little bit of water to it too.
Absolutely.
Even though they're not always going to be super high proof. You know, like the 1910 is like 95
exactly
proof, 97 proof.
93.
Yeah, so they're not always going to be like a high proof product, but even without that, you're still getting that deep oaky, like charry,
Very
dry.
rich.
Yeah,
Very rich.
definitely something to sit on and try. I actually just recently tried this one in Canada when I went in a restaurant, and it's very potent.
It is. And they do picks of these, and some of them are going to be more oaky and drying and charry. Some of them are going to be like marshmallow bombs. So it just depends. Like, it's crazy what the influence does.
Fun fact, you can go to Total Wine and get a 375 of this one for cheap. So if you're just like, I just want to try one and just see if it's my thing, get the 375 ones of this. It's running like $30 or something.
Yeah.
If that. Definitely a good one.
So that's basically going to be like the standard core. There's going to be tasting profiles that we didn't cover here, like Jim Beam nuttiness. That's a big one. But this is a great start. Shelf-stable products, stuff you can go out and find and see, you know, where your palate's at. What do you strive for? What do you lean towards?
And again, with the finished stuff, we can get way more into detail with that one. There's so much to cover, so much to go over. And I think if you look at the bourbon wheel alone, if we're just talking about finished whiskeys alone, that adds so much to it.
It's just crazy.
There's a whole plethora of that. So it's like, I guess we just brought up that one bottle just to say, like, this is a topic to look into as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a starting point to a whole nother web.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I guess that's all we got for you today. I just want to give a special thanks once more, as always, to our Patreon members, you loyal friends and family. We love you dearly. Thank you for your support. You help us so much to keep going. It's the motivation you give us is just exponential. And just you casual viewers that are always coming back and revisiting us, we appreciate you so much too. Just the views, likes, occasional comments help a lot too. Of course, the subscriptions also help a lot more as well. But we like seeing those same familiar faces that are down in the comments a lot. And it's nice to see that little community going. Speaking of community, we do have the Discord that we mentioned earlier. Definitely head on in there if you just want to talk whiskey and just chat or yap or hear us yap or whatever bottles you want to talk about, go in there. We'll talk about it with you. Yep, this is Brothers Barrel with Everything Whiskey. Thank you for watching. As always, drink responsibly. And my name is Harrison.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for watching, friends.